is there something that prohibits us from really looking at this and calling it what it is, this issue of mental health? Is there something that is preventing us from really looking at it the way it is, culturally speaking?
It's because of the stereotypes around how we've always thought of mental health. And very typically, anybody with mental health, like I said, is somebody who, um, to use, has the hair is dada. I don't know if you know what that is, just, locks that are running wild. Still some of those internalized colonial attitudes, because that's a whole different conversation. But anyway, it's the stereotype, like I said, thinking of when you say mental health, everybody thinks of someone who is mad. That's and for that, nobody wants to be associated with that. People don't see their behavior, their day-to-day behaviors as having anything to do with mental health. Like a woman who has had a baby and who's going through postpartum depression. That's very serious. For some women, they can harm their children. They can harm themselves. That's mental health problems. People don't see that. And typically, if a woman is going, we've heard of women back in Nigeria. There were a couple of high-profile women who killed their husbands. And one of the things that I asked was that, just out of curiosity, had this person had a baby recently? And they said, yeah, she just had a baby. And nobody thought of postpartum depression. And that's a very serious mental health problem, which can be dealt with very, very easily, by giving the person the attention they need. Sometimes they may need to be on medication, which is another thing. People have this fear of being on medication for mental health. It can be the difference between life and death, for some people. And it just for a period of their lives, they need the attention. If they don't get it, it can then, develop into something quite serious and become, a real psychological, psychopathic problem. Mental health is something that if it's not addressed, and it's allowed to fester, some people can come back from it, by themselves, but some people actually need intervention. And it's that understanding that for somebody to say, I'm struggling, a lot of times people don't have the language, they don't know what's going on. And that's where if family recognize or are open to, okay, what's happening with you? I see your behavior has changed, you're sleeping more, or you're not sleeping, you're eating too much, or you're not eating. There's certain things, it's just having the mental health awareness. I think we really need, serious campaigns where we can talk about it. Even talking about mental health. I went to Nigeria a few times, and I was interviewed on the TV because those are great attitudes for just trying to get people to get comfortable with hearing the word mental health and understanding what it actually means and coming away from those awful stereotypes and stigma. The more we talk about it, this is a great opportunity, and I'm so thankful that you're doing this. Being able to people to hear, what mental health actually means, and not to be afraid of it, and even then think about their own lives and periods of their lives where they feel, we use expression. English language is great. It says, I feel on the edge. I don't feel myself. I feel, I'm of two minds. All those words suggest something, going on within a person's emotional or psychological, mental well-being that is not, they're not at ease with themselves. These are all indications that maybe something is going on, that it needs for you to just take a minute, self-care. What do I need to do when I actually feel myself on the edge? And we all know those days where we feel, I don't feel right. I don't feel I can go into the world today. I'm really edgy. And it's again on a continuum. There are those who feel just like that, and there are those who feel the extreme of that even goes into a period of saying, I don't really want to be in the world. And they're all little things that people actually say that if you have an awareness of mental health, you can sort of say, okay, do you want to talk about it? Sometimes that's all it takes, because when something is in your head, sometimes in your subconscious, if you are given the space to talk about it, then it comes into your conscious mind, it reduces it. But if you don't talk about it, it stays there and wreaks havoc. And what then happens is that you begin to act it out in ways that you don't realize that there's a connection. So it's just all these things. People, when I talk about it, people say, oh my God, that's what I've been feeling. I didn't realize that. So sometimes it's just that awareness, bringing that awareness into people's psyche that really is helpful.
Thank you very much for that. That is very important. Another thing I'm trying to, out of curiosity, I'm thinking about now is, why is it that we easily connect mental health to spiritual thing? Maybe somebody is having some having a manifestation because of what is going through, psychologically speaking. They will easily say, okay, this one is because you have been bewitched or things like that. Why do we easily make that kind of connection?
Well, unfortunately, I mean, back in the day, that is part of our culture. That is part of a tradition. That I mean, I don't want to cast any negative. Well, speak negatively of the culture per se, and where spiritual happenings exist. I'm not going to necessarily say that doesn't exist within itself, but unfortunately, I think what has happened later on, especially the times that we're living in now, it has become a business for the church, certain churches, and please don't shoot the messenger. We all know it. It's big business now, and because people are in such desperate situations, people are struggling with mental health, serious mental health problems based on the stresses in their lives, real life health issues. Unfortunately, there are people who are taking advantage of that, and that is very disheartening, because it's inhuman to do that, and because sometimes people are going through emotional and psychological pressure. People are depressed. There's a lot of depression out there, and rather than people getting the help they need, they're drawn to these places, who then take advantage of it, and then come up with all these things that you've just said. And it's a spiritual attack. It's somebody's mother's, father's, uncle that's having a go at you. All that stuff. Please stop it. Stop it. We're killing our people with that stuff. And like I said, there will be people who will, not be happy that I said that, but it's the truth, and we know it.
Thank you for that. You see, we really must be courageous to say it. This is truth. We know that. Okay, I'm not going to take the argument further than that. No.
Please.
If you enjoy this podcast, make sure you subscribe so you never miss any of our future episodes. Rate and review Obehi Podcast and share with your friends who might need it. I remain Obehi Ewafo. Thank you so much for listening, and talk to you in the next episode.